Hey everyone, this is Mr. Everything, and today I wanted to do an unboxing, maybe some setup, and depends on how the results are. If the things don't work out, then it's not worth it. I'd like to do a review or some impressions on this Clearstream Max 5 or Max V, probably Max 5, indoor-outdoor antenna. I've been wanting to upgrade to one of these for a while. This is their newest model, I think just came out this year. I'm going to do more than just unboxing. I'm going to do some talking and stuff, so I'll put timestamps if you don't want that. But there's usually a lot of confusion with over the air and antennas, so I just want to do some talking too for my particular situation, because usually with an antenna it's not as simple as you think. There's a lot of setup and adjusting and knowledge of knowing what you need to do. So right now I'm using an RCA flat panel, and I've been using it since 2012. And just how it's set up in my room, somehow it works pretty good. But now with the repack, there's more VHF stations, and it doesn't really pick up VHF because it's not made for it. So we're just going to start with this, and you can see I was planning on eBay getting the 4, either the 4V or the 4 Max. I believe the older one, if the cage had, some people said it had better reception, but most of those models didn't have the VHF element. I got this at my local Walmart, so it's $70. But the thing about buying it from Walmart, technically, if this doesn't work for you, since it's Walmart, you could probably just take it back, as long as you like keep all the packaging, to where other things you might not be able to if it's just a reception issue. And also the old one, which this replaces, is on sale for $50. And from what I read, there was only one video that was actually from Antennas Direct on this antenna, and they said it is the exact same as the 2 Max. So it's the same element, I guess. It's a little bit different assembly wise, and this has an option for a stand, which I might have to purchase. It's a separate thing. But yeah, I was thinking about getting the 4, but this has a 60-mile range. And I'm about a little under 40 miles from Pittsburgh, and a lot of other stations come out of Greensburg, which is only 20 miles away. So I figured, since it's Walmart, I'll just try the 2. It'll fit better on the wall because this is going to be indoor. And we'll see if it works. This one doesn't come, that's one of the different things. This one doesn't come with mounting hardware aside from a wall mount, and I think the bracket to put this on a pole. You can buy both of those things from the Antennas Direct website, but I don't need the pole since it's going to be indoors. Now these are used to secure the VHF element. This is the wall mount, and I think you need to use some of these screws, and this like threaded U-clamp in that. I believe that's all for the mast, which I'm not going to be using. This is the element itself. And you do have to provide your own coaxial cable. It'll just go into this one with the little weather boot. And this is the VHF element, and I like this one a little bit better than the old style, which was just on like a little thing, and then there were just 2 screws and you bent it up. I think this one, since it's all one piece, I don't know if it'll work better. I don't really know how this stuff works. Antennas Direct already has a good installation video, so I'm just going to go ahead and assemble it and show you what it looks like from there. Okay, so I have everything put together. It's pretty simple. It's in the instructions, but again, their YouTube video is a little easier. Since I'm going to do the wall mount, this all basically just goes in. You put the dipoles in first, and then this, and then if you're going to do wall mount, I'm going to think this doesn't weigh much. I really don't want to put a screw in my wall because it always would crack and lift. So I might try and use 3M tape. I have this holding a Dyson vacuum and a charging station. This stuff's very strong. I've never mounted anything without it failing. That strip might not be enough. I might need to get some shims or something to make this bigger, but that'll be the last step. If I was going to do this, I'd probably just use a nail, so it would go in thinner, a little smaller hole, less likely to crack, and then maybe do the tape on top or in addition. But as of now, this is what I'm working with. And another option, which I might not go with if I can get it on the wall, and Walmart doesn't sell this, but if you go to Antennas Direct, and I'm actually surprised because I'm used to stands costing like $1,000 now, that this is only $6. I think you do have to pay like, I think it was like $6 or $10 for shipping, so it is a little pricey there. But so you can, this has a little bit different hardware, but then you can just mount the antenna using that. So the next thing I'm going to do is test it. Now this doesn't come with an amplifier. My RCA does have a separate breakaway amplifier, so I'm going to try this directly. I have a Channel Master powered splitter. I'm going to just try and go directly into that, see what happens, and then maybe go into the RCA amplifier if I think I would need that. But I just want to see how it was intended to be used first. And this is the antenna I've been using for all those years. It did a good job picking up most stations. Rarely did I have any things going out, but with all the repacks and their, you know, with the ATSC 3, I'm not sure if they'll change stations around again. I just want to see if I can try something a little better and if that helps any. You can see there's a huge difference here in size. So, and obviously the addition of the VHF dipoles. So I'm really hoping that this has an improvement, because I was thinking, that's why I'm glad I tried this, because if I would have got the 4, even though I might get better reception, then that would take up like, it would be 2 of these, and it would take up a ton of space, and it'd be really heavy, so I definitely would have to anchor something like that down with screws. So hopefully this will get the job done. It's a 60-mile range. The 4V I think is 70, so shouldn't be much of a difference, hopefully. What I did have to do was switch and run it into the RCA amplifier. I did pick up some stations and pretty good with no amplifier, but I got almost all the ones I used to. This is a rabbit ears. This is what I use to get the actual station to tune in, which I can only do on my LG TV. On the Samsung, you have to just scan, so it's all or nothing. So I hate testing like that, because if you rescan, you don't get any of your stations. Now you have to scan again to get them back. To where on LG I can manually tune. And you can see here, this is for my situation. This is another, you have the Antennas Direct website. And this is again without any tuning, or like, you know, if the antenna itself. So I don't have it aimed. So far, I've actually lost a couple stations. A couple come in a little bit stronger, with or without the amplified splitter, whether I had it plugged in or not. Didn't seem to make a difference, but the just the regular inline amplifier did seem to. So before I give up, I'm just going to try and place it in a few different spots. It did help the VHF station, channel 19 for me. That one did come in better, but 13 doesn't come in at all because it's on a low VHF, so I don't expect to pick it up. Okay, so I think I've found a space. I've tried many different spots, you know, and what I've been doing to test it in spots where I didn't have nails, I just cut a little piece because I didn't want it to really be stuck. And I would cut a little piece and hold it on the wall, and it would hold with just that little bit. Now probably it would eventually fall, but with this full size strip, I don't see it now, since there's this you know, addition here where it's hollow more or less here. I want something to kind of take some of the weight and distribute it more evenly, so it's not all on, the weight's not all on this, some will be on this. I was thinking about using shims and just, but then I'd have to cut them because you have these screws, these bolts sticking out. So these felt pads, you can get them anywhere. You could use anything really. If you have, it'll even just scrap wood. If you have little tiny pieces you could wedge, but about 3 of these is pretty flush with these, and if it sticks out a little bit more, I mean, they squeeze down. so the weight would eventually balance them out. I have some here to put the weight on at the bottom. I might put some here because they're so cheap, just to have a little extra, but maybe it'll just work good if top and bottom. But I'm positive that this will hold, because again, I have a Dyson vacuum which is several pounds, and I only have a couple of strips of this. Some of them, most of them are about this length, maybe 3 of these, and it's been holding for months, no problem. And what I like about it, say that spot ends up not working in 6 months, it's a pretty clean removal. You can usually peel this stuff back off. You might have to rip it off this and then use a chisel or a paint scraper to get it off, that piece off the wall. But I'm not having to constantly re-nail or re-screw things into the wall, because it'll hold permanently, but you can usually take it back off with no damage and no evidence. So that's what I'm going to try and make work, and that's what I would recommend you do too if you're going to just install it on a wall. Try this. And if you did want a little bit more protection and you didn't want to run a screw in, you could still just pound a nail through the opening and it would just come right through and take some of that weight too, if this wouldn't be good enough. Okay, so I finally have everything set up. I think this is my permanent spot, at least for now. It took me quite a few hours just experimenting with different spots and different parts of the room, and I figured it'd be easiest to kind of go where my old one was. And because first off, that one worked there reliably for many years, and that would just make everything easier because I already have my splitter on this side and everything. And sure enough, I finally got a spot. You can see it's quite larger, which is to be expected, and that 3M tape seems to be holding up. Like the antenna in this bracket is moving. Not even this, it's just like this is more the weak point than that is. And then I think these are helping take some of the weight off. And I decided to keep this one up because over all the years of other antennas and things, this one's always reliable. So if this would fail after a while, not be as reliable, I can always just simply hook that back into my splitter. I am using this with the RCA amplifier. I couldn't get as many stations without it, so I would highly recommend using this with an amplifier. If you're outside, you can just get like a regular preamp or something. Otherwise, I think even just a cheap Walmart on-brand powered amplifier should work. I'm using the RCA one, which is basically the same thing. And I don't know, I mean, it picks up everything for me. And as long as this tape doesn't give out, and the nice thing again is, if I would need to relocate it, it wouldn't be too much work to just peel that off and relocate it. I actually had the most reliable reception in the window. So if you're hooking, like just laying it near on the windowsill, so for that reason, I think that it would work great outside. But just the fact that I can get all these stations indoors, I don't want to go too long for copyright. So all my main stations are coming in, and a lot of the adjustments would just fine tuning, because even just a few inches would be the difference between if I get up and move or something to where I would get pixelation. And it's very arbitrary. I mean, it's spring going into summer, you never know. Once it's summer or I put an air conditioner in, will it mess things up? Channel 19 is the VHF station. You can see there was a wee bit of pixelation, but I left this on for about a half hour, and it didn't break up. It didn't come in at all before, so I'm fine with that. And a quick test that since this TV doesn't have a signal meter like the LG does, one little tip: if you turn a light switch on and off, or anything really, like a fan, or even opening a microwave or something, don't get me copyright, something like that, that's a good way to see if it does that pixelation. That's interference, you have a weaker signal. So this station, which I didn't get at all on the RCA, see, that one wasn't affected by turning the light on and off. So that's just a real cheap white trash trick if you don't have a signal meter or a way to or check spikes. Just turn an appliance or something on and off, and the interference will get picked up. I think 53 had a little bit of pixelation from time to time, but I never lost the signal and it was never unwatchable. So that one seems pretty good now. So that's pretty much all it is. I get all the stations aside from PBS, but it's on the true VHF station of 4, and I couldn't even get a blip with it. Don't give me copyright. So it's just unpicked. You can't pick it up. I don't care. I think you could, if you really want, I think you can go to their website and watch most of their content for free. But there you go. I don't want to get hit with that copyright, but that's the Clearstream Max 5. Hopefully you can get it at your local Walmart. Otherwise you can just buy it on the Antennas Direct website. It has been an improvement. It is pretty expensive, and you might want to use an amplifier. Definitely have to have your own cable to run to it, coax cable. But worked out for me, and I'll provide any updates if need be. So hopefully this helped you out, gave you some tips, showed you everything I possibly could to pertain to my situation that might pertain to yours as well. So thanks for watching, and you'll see me in the next one. Have a good one.